Welcome. Throughout the years, we have witnessed a steady rise in the unjust actions of political pawns, power-hungry politicians, and emerging of public and private sectors that, if left unchecked, threaten the very fabric our freedom is built upon. We've witnessed countless crises, calamities, and catastrophes, each with what would appear to be predetermined solutions to pre-planned problems, all of which have deteriorated and eroded our fundamental freedoms that are not just guaranteed to us by the Constitution, but are foundational to the whole of the human experience. If we are to learn anything from what history has to offer, I would contest that it has been shown that any and every time a group of men in power have strived to limit the liberties of those that they govern, it has led and will continue to lead to anguish, hardship, sorrow, and sadness. We can continue repeating history, or we can make our last stand.
So now you've got this CBDC that requires ID. So what's the big problem, Magic? What's wrong with that? Think about it. Every single transaction in your life that you will ever do and ever have done will be logged and registered on an open ledger, because that's what the blockchain is. Now, Bitcoin avoids this because you don't need your name on your Bitcoin wallet. So it will be a number on the blockchain ledger. Yes, you can be traced by some clever detective work. That's fine, that's like cash. But what CBDCs are is your national identity tied to a digital currency that will log every single one of your transactions.
How free this land will be when the government implements a CBDC. Here are just a few ways governments and central banks can program CBDCs that put our life, liberty, and property at risk. They will have the ability to restrict your access to your money, to freeze all of your accounts if you speak out against or rival their agendas. You will have zero privacy with how you choose to spend your money. They can impose geographic spending limits, meaning if you go into a certain store or are in a certain location anywhere around the world, they can change the amount of your money that you have access to automatically. They can put restrictions and limits on what you can buy with your money, meaning they can control what you buy and how much of it you buy automatically. They can put restrictions and limits on the amount of your money you save, meaning they can force you to spend any excess money you have that is over the amount of money you're allowed to save. They can implement negative interest rates, which means as your money sits in your account, percentages are taken out, which forces people to spend it or pay a fee to save it. They can put expiration dates on your money, meaning if you don't use it within a certain amount of time, you lose it. Before your paycheck hits your account, they can take out your parking tickets, child support, student loans, alimony, and any government fines, leaving you with what's left over, which could be nothing.
We tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability.
The nature of this CBDC, what is it actually going to look like? They never talk about that. Right. But I heard one European central banker tell me what it's going to look like. He saw it. He was invited to one of the old central banks in Europe that are very much promoting this. And they showed him. And, you know, he's a top, executive director of another central bank in Europe. And there's no reason to believe that he was telling me a story. And he was around this large and would be implanted under your skin.
He doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
You like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Lack of understanding that people have about the implementation of things like a digital currency that is centralized, that's controlled by the government.
Right.
That scares the shit out of me.
Absolutely.
Because that's what and Maxine Waters, who has been promoting this, said that we need this to compete with China, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like saying we need communism to compete with communism.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you want to compete with communists, you have to be a communist. Like what?
Yeah.
Like digital currency that's centralized by the state is terrifying because they'll connect it to a social credit score system.
Yeah.
If they connect it to a social credit score system, Tulsi Gabbard, I don't like what you said on the Joe Rogan Experience. We're going to go and eliminate your ability to fly.
Right.
You can't fly. You can't travel. You can't buy gas anymore.
Yep.
Which is what they do in China.
It's all within the realm of possibility. And you look at that, and what is the recent thing of, I think Elizabeth Warren was pushing for credit card companies to start tracking people who buy ammunition and firearms and report that to the government.
Visa is going to change the way they categorize gun sales. So they'll put gun sales in a different realm of of regular sales, which is to let people know, like, hey, we're watching you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not just because, like, oh, well, I'm just curious. No.
There's
a regulatory follow-up action.
Hi there. How you doing?
I am wonderful.
I am so sorry. That flight is canceled.
No.
Customer incident at the other end.
What? So when is the next flight?
Yeah, they're all kind of full.
I booked this weeks ago. It's my best friend's wedding.
I'm sorry.
I have to get there. I have to.
Okay, let's see what we can do.
Oh, thank you.
I see there's one standby seat on another plane leaving tonight. That's reserved for members of our Prime Flight program. You got to be a 4.2 or over to qualify.
Oh, I'm a 4.2.
I'm afraid you're actually a 4.183.
Oh. Well, that's not my fault. Some woman dinged me down in the couch. Can't you just...
I'm sorry, it won't let me book it without the correct ranking.
But it's so close.
There's just nothing I can do.
Christ, I mean, surely.
I'm gonna have to ask you to moderate your language there.
Sorry, it's just... I'm maid of honor. I cannot miss this wedding.
And I am so sorry about that.
Can you call the supervisor?
I cannot do that.
Can you just call the supervisor?
I cannot do that.
Call the fucking supervisor.
Okay, that's profanity. We're zero tolerance on profanity.
I'm sorry, it's just...
Yeah, I have to serve the next customer.
No.
Step away, ma'am.
God, just fucking help me! I'm so sorry.
I've called security.
Oh, no, please don't do that. I'm a 5-starring you. 5 stars?
What's the issue here, Hannah?
Intimidation and profanity.
Oh, no, I was not intimidating.
Don't speak, ma'am.
I was just trying to...
Okay, so, in order to restore calm, I'm invoking my authority as airport security to dock you 1 full ranking point as a punitive measure. This is a temporary measure.
No!
The score reverts to normal in 24 hours.
No, but I need it now.
Period, all down votes are subject to a ×2 multiplier.
×2?
We recommend you avoid negative feedback at this time.
I'm on double damage?
Please, remove yourself from the airport immediately.
Surrounding COVID's impact on cash has yet to be reported. The pandemic is expected to cause a drastic decline in cash usage due to the risk of contamination. The unprecedented surge in the demand for contactless payment has also shown outstanding performances from major companies offering cashless payment methods like Apple, Square, and PayPal.
You're seeing digital payments in this crisis move from being a nice-to-have capability to a must-have essential service.
Whether it is credit or debit or prepaid cards or peer-to-peer services like PayPal or Venmo or others, we're seeing a corresponding increase in digital transactions as we're seeing a decrease in the use of cash.
The second concern is control, because this currency can be programmed. And when it's programmed, it means that it can be set by government and it can determine what you purchase and what you sell and what you buy.